coronavirus cases reported in Los Angeles County in the last 24 hours is 1,267, with 31 additional deaths. Here in Torrance, 14 additional cases were reported, with 1 new death. Welcome to COVID-19 Today. I'm Bella Shaw. It's Thursday, October 21st. For the first time this school year, a school in LA County is shut down due to a spike in COVID-19 cases. View Park Preparatory High, an independent charter school authorized by the LA Unified School District, closed its campus for the entire week and returned to remote learning. Last weekend, the school received coronavirus test results from October 14th, which showed 15 positive cases among students, including a football player and 1 staff member. That was more infections than for the rest of the school year combined. The test took place just 1 day before a football game against Crenshaw High. The Crenshaw players are in quarantine this week, and their game for tomorrow has been canceled. A district spokesperson says the Crenshaw football team is expected to resume practicing and playing again next week. Earlier this week, California Governor Gavin Newsom's office cited research indicating that there have been more than 2,300 school or district closures nationwide, 18 of those in California. The state accounts for less than 1% of the national total, even though it has about 12% of the nation's public school students. A booster shot of the Pfizer BioNTech vaccine is 95.6% effective against COVID-19. The companies announced their latest findings from their Phase 3 trial today, noting efficacy was consistent regardless of age, sex, race, or ethnicity. The trial included more than 10,000 fully vaccinated people ages 16 and older. They randomly received either the 30 microgram booster dose or a placebo. During the study, 109 COVID-19 cases came up among those who got a placebo, compared to just 5 cases among those who received the booster vaccine. The companies noted the 95.6% vaccine efficacy reflects the reduction of disease among those who received a booster shot versus those who did not. These are the first results from a randomized and controlled COVID-19 vaccine booster trial, which took place when the highly contagious Delta variant was prevalent. COVID-19 cases in Europe went up for 3 weeks in a row. The World Health Organization is urging people to be cautious as temperatures drop and travel and leisure activities return to normal. Europe is the only area among the agency's 6 regions of member states where cases are climbing. More than 1.3 million coronavirus cases were reported across the continent over the week ending with last Sunday, a 7% jump from the previous week. Officials say the situation in Europe is partially driven by surges in the Czech Republic, Hungary, and Poland, where cases jumped 50% over the past week. Meanwhile, scientists are closely tracking a new variant that is spreading in the United Kingdom as well as in Israel. It's called AY4.2, a subtype of Delta, and maybe 10% more infectious than Delta. As of September 27th, 6% of UK sequenced tests were of this Delta subvariant. And an additional 5 cases were reported in Israel today, 2 days after the first variant carrier was identified in an 11-year-old boy who returned from Moldova. A new study shows most Americans resumed risky social and travel activities before vaccines became available. It identifies various factors that played a role in the resumption of risky travel and leisure behaviors during the pandemic. Researchers at Texas A&M surveyed more than 2,500 American adults between late November and early December of 2020. More than 60% of respondents say they resumed or intended to resume at least one risky travel or leisure behavior before vaccines became available, and about 1 in 6 had engaged in 4 or more risky behaviors. Risky behaviors include eating indoors at restaurants, eating or drinking in bars, attending large social events, and traveling by airplane. Being younger, fiscally conservative, or having less perceived susceptibility to COVID-19 were variables associated with someone being more likely to resume leisure behaviors. Higher education and socioeconomic status were tied to a greater likelihood of taking a flight. The survey responses show that while many Americans listened to public health officials' warnings, others chose to return to normal life despite the risks to themselves and to others. Cruise ships are back in business here in Southern California. Carnival's Panorama is getting ready to set sail this Saturday from the port of Long Beach to the Mexican Riviera. That will be the first time in almost a year and a half that a cruise ship departs from California with passengers. Long Beach officials say the cruise ship industry is crucial to its local economy, with more than 21,000 jobs in the entertainment and hospitality sectors. More than 600,000 passengers come into the area to stay at nearby hotels and frequent local restaurants and shops. The Long Beach-based cruises range from 3 days to a couple of weeks, but if you're looking for a much longer getaway, Royal Caribbean just announced its longest cruise ever. For $60,000, you can enjoy a 9-month cruise around the world, visiting all 7 continents and more than 150 different destinations. That cruise departs from Miami on December 10th. The U.S. Department of Agriculture's Food Safety and Inspection Service announced efforts to reduce salmonella illnesses associated with poultry products. The agency is initiating several key activities to gather the data and information necessary to move closer to the national target of a 25% reduction of such illnesses. Currently, more than 1 million consumer illnesses due to salmonella occur every year, and more than 23% of them are linked to the consumption of chicken and turkey. The U.S. Department of Agriculture intends to seek stakeholder feedback on specific salmonella control and measurement strategies, including pilot projects in slaughter and processing establishments. Meanwhile, the National Advisory Committee for Microbiological Criteria in Foods, an independent federal advisory committee, will be asked to advise on how FSIS can build on the latest science to improve its approach to salmonella control. This comes as a salmonella outbreak tied to onions makes headlines this week. The FDA says 652 reports of illness and 129 hospitalizations span 37 states, including California. The onions were imported from Mexico by an Idaho-based company called ProSource Inc. They were sold to restaurants and grocery stores across the country. Red, yellow, and white onions with import dates from July 1st to August 27th have been recalled. This morning at 10:21 a.m., more than 7.5 million Californians took part in the Great Shakeout, a drill to prepare for the next big earthquake. Participants had the opportunity to learn and practice earthquake safety measures so they know how to protect themselves, whether they are at home, work, or traveling. If you missed the drill this morning, you can do it anytime. Just secure a sturdy desk or a table and drop, cover, and hold on. The Great Shakeout began right here in Southern California in 2008, and since then it has grown to include participation across the U.S. and several other countries. Almost 15 million people in the U.S. and more than 15.7 million people around the world registered with Shakeout.org this year to participate in the annual event. Gas prices hit a 7-year high this week, and no big surprise, California has some of the highest prices right now. As of Tuesday, the average cost of a gallon of gas was $3.32, a price not seen since 2014. And if you have to gas up in Gorda, a town along the Big Sur coast about 40 minutes north of San Simeon, it'll cost you $7.59 a gallon for regular unleaded and $8.50 a gallon for premium. Experts say global demand for oil remains high amid a tight supply. AAA says the cost of crude is above $80 a barrel. In August, it was in the low 60s. Crude accounts for about half the price of gas. California tops the list of states with the highest prices for an average gallon of gas. Trailing behind are Hawaii and Nevada. Meanwhile, the lowest average prices can be seen in Texas, Oklahoma, and Arkansas. Maya Angelou will become the first woman to be immortalized on a U.S. quarter. You can expect to see her on the new coins next year as part of the American Women Quarters program, a 4-year initiative set out by the U.S. Mint. The goal is to issue quarters featuring the likenesses of inspiring American women. In 2022, Angelou, a celebrated writer, performer, and social activist, will be spotlighted, followed by Dr. Sally Ride, the first American woman in space, Wilma Mankiller, the first female principal chief of the Cherokee Nation, Nina Otero Warren, a leader in New Mexico's suffrage movement, and Anna May Wong, the first Chinese-American film star in Hollywood. The U.S. Mint will issue up to 5 new designs each year until 2025. The Torrance City Council will hold 4 public hearings to discuss and receive public input on redistricting for the general municipal election on June 7th of 2022. Every 10 years, districts must be redrawn, so each district is for the most part equal in population. The 2020 census data requires the city to adjust districts 5 and 6, but the City Council may consider larger changes. Public hearings are scheduled to begin at 9 p.m. at the Torrance City Council Chamber on October 26th, November 9th, December 7th, and 14th. For more information, you can visit torranceca.gov/redistricting 2022 or call the office of the City Clerk at 310-618-2870. We're in the middle of National Teen Driver Safety Week, and the Torrance Police Department reminds parents and guardians about the importance of talking to their teens about driving responsibly and safely. Driving remains the most dangerous activity for teens. Per mile driven, they are 4 times as likely to be involved in a crash as drivers and all other age groups. According to the Insurance Institute for Highway Safety, speeding was a factor in 43% of all teen driver and passenger fatalities from 2015 to 2019, compared to 30% of all traffic deaths among those 20 and older. Police say, like most skills, experience and training make you a better and more prepared driver. They share some tips for parents. Learn about California's provisional licensing law, which places restrictions on passengers driving at night during the first year they have a license. Lead by example by having driving sessions with your teen and showing them safe driving habits. Set ground rules and be firm about no phone use, not being distracted by friends, and always buckling up and following speed limits. And finally, remind your teens about the importance of never driving under the influence or riding with someone who is not sober. The Torrance Libraries have a few upcoming events that you may be interested in. First, on Monday, October 25th at 3:30 p.m., Ina Buckner Barnett, also known as the Sunshine Storyteller, will have a show filled with international folk tales, songs, poetry, and personal stories at Victor Park next to Henderson Library. Bring your own blanket for extra comfort. Then on Wednesday, October 27th at 6 p.m., join paranormal explorer Kurt Strutz as he takes you via Zoom through some of the nation's most haunted locations, including abandoned hospitals, schools, asylums, and homes. You can email sbueller@torranceca.gov by October 25th if you want to participate. You can also call 310-781-7599 for more information. Then on Saturday, October 30th, there will be a cheaper by the dozen pre-bagged book sale at the Katie Geisert Civic Center Library from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. for every $10 donation. You can get either a dozen pre-bagged hardcover fiction books, 2 dozen pre-bagged paperback fiction books, or 3 dozen pre-bagged children's paperback books. As we wrap up this week, be sure to tune in to Weekends in Torrance beginning Friday right here on City Cable. Episodes begin at 2 p.m. tomorrow, Saturday, and Sunday. On Friday, meet city worker Benjamin Birch, who came to the rescue of an Arlington Elementary 5th grader when she dropped her phone into a storm drain. He shares about the importance of showing kindness to those in our community, especially during the pandemic. Then celebrate with the city at its 43rd Excellence in Arts Awards, which came back after a break last year due to the coronavirus. And on Sunday, Torrance City Cable's Rhiannon, Tritanich, and Popeye share tips on how to help pets readjust to normal life during COVID-19. Weekends in Torrance kicks off tomorrow at 2 p.m. You can watch it on Spectrum Cable Channel 3, Files Channel 31, or stream it on our website as well as on YouTube. Well, before we go at the end of each program, we like to share feel-good stories from our community, pictures, images, and videos that remind us how resilient our community is and how Torrance truly cares. The Western Museum of Flight at Zamperini Field has a free event this weekend for those who are willing to dress up for Halloween. From 10 a.m. to noon this Saturday, October 23rd, museum admission is free for all creatures and costumes. There'll also be free treats, story time, and a science lesson on flying broomsticks and other airborne devices. RSVPs are needed. Email info@wmof.com or call 310-326-9544. Now, if you have a great story, upcoming event, a photo or video you'd like to share, email us at covid19today@torranceca.gov. We'd love to hear from you. Well, that's our update for COVID-19 today. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you back here on Monday as Leslie Robbins brings you the latest. Please stay safe, healthy, and thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time.